Hello guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So, just off the bat, I just want to say that usually I'm a reader who only enjoys reading purely nonfiction, more like fact-based self-help books. More of the stuff that you feel like you can benefit right from each chapter and each sentence almost. So I'm not really a reader of memoirs like which this book is, and I usually don't see the main purpose in it. I don't really feel how it benefits me. But this is one of those memoirs that I've read that I feel like was really impactful and significant in kind of changing the way I viewed a lot of the things I have viewed before. And analyzing it through kind of a new perspective, which David Goggins does, has really just been impactful to a surprising amount, which I didn't expect. So that's kind of just to preface it to the introduction to this book. But this book is basically about David Goggins, who is a memoir of his life, and where he talks about his whole entire journey through when he was in a abusive household, in a poor household, and he was struggling in school to the point where he was really fat and had a really bad job, to encouraging himself and pushing himself towards joining the army, getting cut, but then going back to join the Navy SEALs, getting cut 3 times, multiple times. He's going through all these really hard challenges in his life, right? And my summary doesn't even do justice, just because the meaning and the significance of the book that you gain out of it is not from a summary, but rather from understanding his emotions and feelings at the time. So he went through a bunch of things, right? Then he did marathons after, set world records. He talks about all of that within this book. So you kind of get this idea of every single accomplishment, big accomplishment that he's done, and you get to see what happens and what he thinks through his head during all those events. And so going to this book, I kind of thought that in the beginning especially, that I already thought that all these things were kind of cliche ideas and just stay strong, be a strong person, don't lose your mentality, right? Keep disciplined. I thought I kind of already knew those ideas. I thought it was already cliche. I thought it was already something that he would just kept repeating over and over again, the stay hard thing. It's kind of a meme sometimes, but to be honest, it makes sense once you read more of the book. I thought I already understood it. But as I slowly progressed through the book, and I especially saw the part where read really closely about his feelings throughout, especially the SEAL training and the Hell Week for Navy SEALs. I felt that everything I thought about discipline and everything I thought about pushing our minds to the limit was changed. And he didn't do it in a way where he was telling you, you gotta be better, you gotta be stronger, as you see in a lot of TikTok and YouTube videos, but rather he was just painting you through his experience, painting you through the hardness of the bout, how difficult it was to overcome the challenges that they were given, and his mindset throughout all of it, right? He kind of paints it in the way where he shows that he's immortal too. He's a human too, right? He had the difficulties and where he had resistance. He didn't want to do all this stuff, but he showed his way of thinking, of pushing past those boundaries and pushing with discipline, not just discipline, but finding the inner voice within your head to push, right? And he talks about that really deeply within the book and his own mindset. And when you hear his ideas on that, it's more like you learn from the stories and you learn from his experience. You know that he's thought this way, someone's thought this way, and you gain the empathy and the kind of the experience borrowed from him in your own life. So essentially, right, something that was pretty noticeable was something that was pretty interesting to me was that we had a review back here in the back by Joe Rogan. He says that blah 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 blah, just listening to this guy makes you want to run up a mountain. And when you think that, take that at face value, what the hell is he even saying? How can he even make me want to run up a mountain? Is it just pure motivation? I mean, yes, it is motivating in a way, but when you read the book, you hear him being really tough with himself, and you hear his mentality and his ideas and why he's pushing so hard and his relentlessness and his drive, right? And that gives you a sense of almost healthy comparison, and where you realize that this is kind of what he says in the book at the end as well too, but his point in the book is to kind of show you that there is a box that we surround ourselves in. And he wants to show that from people's experience like his, that we can see that there is so much potential outside our box, basically, and that the box is only there because of our mind hindering ourselves. And so, in the sense that Joe Rogan's talking about, listening to him talking about kind of breaking these barriers was showing that there is a ability to break that box, and that's kind of what he means by getting the drive to run up the mountain, is because you really learn about yourself in the way that your mind is the only thing holding you back, and you really learn that throughout this book because his experiences completely contrast with your own life. And so once you listen to his, you kind of understand that there are boundaries, but you can break through it. And it's motivating, but not just motivating, right? Not the short-term motivation that you see on like TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff, but it's motivating in the sense that it really shows that can make a difference in your life. And this is not this is not the short-term motivation. It's more like the life lesson, like life-changing lesson. So I think like that's really what the power of this book was, is just to show you a different experience that can serve as a life-altering experience. And like I can relate with Joe Rogan now. I understand what he's talking about. Just listening to this guy makes you want to run up a mountain, because you can really just feel your mind slowly bending and slowly understanding that there is so much more potential within you than you imagine. And that's something that the whole book kind of goes out to show you. So in terms of the book itself, inside the books, the writing style is very, very casual. I've done book reviews on Robert Greene, Sebastian Junger, and a bunch of other authors, and they write in a more formal style. So even though they're self-help books, they write in a more formal style. So this was a little kind of unordinary for me, in the sense that it's almost like he was talking. If you ever seen David Goggins videos and where he's like screaming at you, it's kind of the same sense here. And it has its own rhetoric value in the term that you feel like he's really just talking to you straight to face. And it's like there's a lot of vulgar language, there's a lot of first tense, and there's a lot of like talking to you, like you better do this. And like there's challenges within the book. There's 9 or 10 challenges in total, talking about things that you should do after he talks about his story in that section of his life. Like we can just go here. Challenge 2, here says it's time to come eyeball to eyeball with yourself and get raw and real. This is not self-love tactic. You can't fluff it. Don't massage your ego. This is about balancing your ego and taking the first step towards becoming real you. And then blah, blah, blah. It talks about things you can do for yourself. I personally do not find that incredibly useful, but it's a good summary of kind of what he's getting at. I feel like his accounting the stories, are more valuable and more powerful, in the sense that listening to his stories actually resonates with me a little more. But, I think there's pros and cons to the rhetoric and the casual way he's talking. I think it can definitely permeate for a lot of more people, especially since it's more casual, not as research lingo type things. But I also think that it may lack, just any like type of. Well, it's not a psychology book, right? It's not meant to do science or anything. It's just meant to be a story. So you're not gonna really get a lot of science behind why things happen. And as someone who likes understanding how why happens, you kind of don't get that with this book, but that's fine. It's just a story, right? It's a memoir. That's why I typically don't read memoirs, but this is a memoir. But I think it was all valuable nonetheless. And yeah, it goes on like that. I think this book is incredibly, incredibly useful and valuable in the present day society. Especially with how everything has become so convenient and easy. It's really easy just to become as lazy as we can. It's tremendously convenient to just get everything you want, and that makes it easy for us to just live life like slobs, right? But that's not really kind of the life that a lot of us want to live, and a lot of the lives that we were meant to live. So reading a book like this that teaches you about breaking those boundaries, kind of pushing yourself to be in situations that are uncomfortable, even though you have the choice not to, is an incredibly useful lesson to learn. Period. So I do recommend this book to anyone who feels like they are missing out, or they want something more in life, but they don't really know how to get it or what to do. It's like, if you feel like you're more than yourself, or you want to figure out how to become more than yourself, this book is kind of a way to gain an insight of someone who's done it before, and someone's mind and the action of it. And yeah. that's pretty much the summary of this book. There's a lot more things I can say, but I'm not going to do it for the sake of the video. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. That's my book review. Thank you.